Hello, darling. This is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and you're listening to Music Connection Magazine.
Cool. So let's get into it. Tell me, what does Halloween mean to you?
Well, it means a lot of money. I'm just kidding. Okay, that's a joke. Well, it's not really a joke, but it's always been my favorite holiday, honestly, since I was a kid.
Okay.
My family owned a costume shop, and so I grew up in the Halloween costume business. So Halloween was always the craziest time of year, and believe me, it still is. And I love it. I think it's the best holiday. It's like no gifts to buy for anybody, no dinners to make, for your relatives. Mm-hmm. You just dress up and have fun.
Definitely. Okay, so speaking about when you were younger, what was your favorite horror-themed toy to play with?
Oh, when I was a kid, really, all the other little girls had Barbies. I had ordered the Revco model kits or the Aurora model kits. Excuse me, I was thinking of the car. Aurora model kits of Frankenstein, the Mummy, Wolfman, all of those people. So I spent a lot of time making model kits of those, and I was definitely way into the horror themed stuff even as a child.
Nice. Okay. Well, it's unusual, but I like it. I'm into that as well. I know my younger brother is as well.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. As a girl, there were no other girls that I knew that were into that, so I couldn't get anybody to play with me. It was very sad.
I could imagine. But did you? Were you able to connect with some of the guys that were into that?
Well, I was kind of a nerd, so I was off in my own little world and didn't really connect at that time with anybody. I was playing along in horror fantasy land there by myself.
Right. Okay, I see. Well, let me ask you this. Which horror films helped shape you in becoming the queen of scream?
I would say the very first horror movie I saw, which was House on Haunted Hills, starring Vincent Price, rocked my world. It changed my whole life. I went from I don't know, it kind of just woke me up. It was all of a sudden there were horror films I'd never seen one. I was fascinated with it. I was both repelled and fascinated at the same time because I was in second grade and I remember having recurring nightmares over and over, but I couldn't get Vincent Price out of my head. So I went to see every movie that he was in, which in those days were all the old Roger Corman films that were kind of loosely based on the Edgar Allan Poe movies, poems, and stories, and like Tomb of Ligeia and The Raven and all these various movies, and it just changed my whole outlook to everything. I began reading Famous Monsters magazine, and I got into the model kit making of horror, icons, and I stuck with it kind of all my life, something I just really, when you have that moment when you're a kid and you see something and you go, oh my God, I love this.
Right.
So it was that moment. So I always think of that movie when I think of what turned me into a horror geek.
I got you. Okay. So let me ask you this. I know you worked for K-Rock for a little bit. How was it working over there?
It was awesome. My other love besides horror is music, and
I noticed that.
Man, a lot of my friends are musicians, and I really like to hang with kind of a music crowd, and it's such a huge part of my life. So working at K-Rock was awesome because I got to kind of work with Rodney Bingenheimer in that I got to go around to every club in L.A. for the whole, a section of the late 70s and the early 80s where new wave music was just happening. So I got to go to every club and see bands that were brand new, nobody had seen before. Talking Heads, the Go-Go's, the Pretenders, they were just all starting to happen here in Hollywood. And then I got to go into K-Rock and actually play them. There were no restrictions on what you could play. And I remember one of the first songs I played that hadn't been heard, I got it from Rodney, was from the Shags. It was Halloween. It's Halloween from the Shags. Oh my God! And it was combining Halloween and music, and it was so awesome. And of course, I don't know if you've ever heard that song, but probably the worst song ever made. Kind of like the movies I play. Oh wait, did I say that? But anyway, it was so happening and so hot right then. It was just one band after another coming out, and I got to go see them, and then I got to get a recording and play it on the air. So it was a really, really one of the greatest times in music, I think, ever. I think I skipped the whole damn 70s. I went directly from the 60s to the 80s. For me, the 70s were just, with a very few exceptions, the 70s was kind of just this dead zone for music.
Okay.
In my opinion, that's my opinion. And there were exceptions. There were some few good artists then and songs, but in general.
Name a couple artists that you like from the 70s. Oh my
God, I don't think I can. I'd have to look through a thing and go, okay, that one's not so bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. So let me ask you this: how did you get started doing the movie Macabre?
I started locally again in L.A. It was right around the time, not long before I did the gig at K-Rock. I started. I was in the Groundlings, which is a comedy improv group here in L.A., still going on. That turned out 1,000,001 different actors, from Pee Wee Herman and Phil Hartman to oh my God, 1,000,001 different actors there. And Saturday Night Live now, they practically populate the damn show with Groundlings. Okay. And I was in that group and heard about an interview for a local television station, and I wasn't in a financial position to turn down any auditions at that time.
Definitely.
So I went. I was able to get. I got the part. Amazingly, they had a gigantic open call, and got the part. A friend of mine, Robert Redding, helped me design the costume. Went on TV. I honestly thought, this is the most ridiculous thing. Here I am. I'm doing like this Valley Girl character I had from the Groundlings. I'm dressed as some kind of a vampire, and I'm showing really crappy movies that nobody wants to see. This is not going to last long.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, here it is, 35 years later. I'm still doing it.
I know. Amazing.
A trip.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to mention to you just a couple music things that I've done, and of course there's the Hulu show coming up, which is the most important thing. October 9th. Oh my God, my cat is chewing my shoes. Stop. My cat is just like chewing the crap out of my shoes here.
Wow.
Okay. One thing was the Ryan Adams video that I just did last month called "Give Me Something Good," the tune from his new album. Was
that the one on your website?
I'm sorry?
Was that the one on your website?
Yeah. Ryan Adams just recorded that. We did that together a month ago. I met him through my accountant. We share the same accountant, so it was so bizarre. He called me up and asked me if I wanted to do this. He's really into pinball, so we actually talked a lot of pinball first, and then later he said, would you like to do a music video with me? And I was like, sure, that'd be great. I thought I was just going to do a little walk on it. It ended up being kind of centered around Elvira, which is really awesome because I love the song.
Right.
And
definitely. No, I like that song too. That's what I remember. I was checking out your site the other day, so I was like, yeah, this is a pretty dope song.
Yeah, it just came out within the last, I think, in September or something, maybe the end of August.
Yeah.
But so I did that. That was really, really cool. And then Ryan kind of helped me out by shooting a little bit of footage after we shot the video. He and his crew shot some footage that I used for my new song that Fred Schneider from the B-52s wrote called Two Big Pumpkins. And, and that's out right now. It just came out October 8th. And then I got a hold of my friend Jack White, who used Third Man Records to make the 7-inch vinyl and also put together the music video. So it was really great.
That's
it was
cool.
So awesome. I just saw Jack the other night. He actually came. I'm doing a big show at Knott's Scary Farm right now.
Right, I know about that.
And I do this gigantic show, and Jack White came down along with Josh Homme from Queens of Stone Age. My two favorite recording artists right there.
Okay.
And they came down, saw the show, plus Jake Shears from Scissor Sisters, along with Pee Wee Herman. And
he showed up.
Yeah, they all came down together. It was awesome. That was just a few nights ago.
Nice.
So,
nice.
So anyway, Jack has really helped me out. He did my last song. That was the theme song for my last TV series, which was syndicated in 2012. Jack had the Black Bells record a song for me for the opening sequence of the TV show. And he's just been fantastic at helping me out. He's an amazing, amazing guy, and obviously, in my book, #1 musician on the planet.
Cool. All right, sounds good. So I know you mentioned a little bit about 13 Nights of Elvira, and how did that come about with you and Hulu?
We had worked with a person on my syndicated Movie Macabre series that was in 2012 who had worked at a company that brought it out on DVD, and then he moved over to Hulu, and his name was Griffin Gmelch, Gmelch, but he thought that it would make a great idea for Hulu, and we did too. We had a couple meetings about it, and then Griffin began pitching it over there, and it took a couple of years, but they finally picked up on it. I found out I have some big fans over at Hulu, which was great, and we kind of pulled this together at the last minute. It was a really like all of a sudden, can you do this? It was going to be 31 movies, and there was not time to do 31. And it was almost impossible to find 31 that we could use, because the hardest part of hosting horror movies is getting the movies.
Right.
People go, why don't you do more? And it's because the movies are unaffordable generally if they're owned by a group like Sony or Universal or whatever. They're nobody could afford them.
Right.
Not me anyway. But anyway, we were able to get a great group of movies, mostly from Charles Band, who did Puppet Masters and, oh my God, Oblivion, a lot of really kind of perfect movies for Elvira to host.
Yeah.
So we were able to get those movies, threw together 13, bam, bam, wham, bam. And
cool.
They're coming out on the 19th, starting 19th all through the 31st.
The 31st, right. I've seen that. That's cool. So, talking about like your setup and the time frame that it takes you to get ready and put Elvira on instead of Cassandra, how long does that take you to do?
It takes me exactly an hour and a half. I do it. I have it down to like a science. So yeah, I've been doing that every day this last several weeks, actually, since the end of August. So I have it.
Well, that's cool.
Do it in my sleep. Yeah.
I gotcha. So, talking a little bit about music, I know you have a few more releases out there. Do you plan on releasing another album? I know you mentioned another song, but another album?
I've been talking a little bit to a few people, again, Fred Schneider, about some more like dance music stuff, and I've been talking to
like
Ryan.
EDM?
I'm sorry?
Like EDM, like electronic dance music?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've actually been talking about a couple of those with some people who are into that, and also talking to Ryan about doing some music. He's interested in doing some Elvira music, so I've been talking to him about it.
That's cool.
And it's so funny. I should mention my nephew is once in a while I talk to him about doing some music. He actually is with Black Eyed Peas. His name is Damien Leroy, and he writes a lot of their music and produces it. So I've been talking to him about doing something too. So we'll see if we can get that together in this next year.
Definitely. So let me ask you this, Elvira. What's next for you? I know once Halloween is done on the 31st, how are you going to keep it going? What do you have on your plate?
My next big project, well, right after the 31st, the next day, I'm at one of the biggest pop culture conventions in the country called Comical.
That's right.
Here in LA. Yeah, so for 3 days I'll be at Comical right after Halloween. And I hope I can still function. Anyway, and then about a week later I go to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro, because oddly Brazil is my second biggest market after the U.S.
Wow.
I do a lot of appearances around the world. I do like Australia and England, mostly English-speaking places. But for some reason, Brazil, they love me down there. So
cool.
I'll be making my first appearance down there. And then I'm going to begin doing my working really hard, concentrating on doing an animated project.
Okay.
Either film or television, but an animated Elvira, because I've always thought that Elvira is kind of a cartoon character anyway, and she'd make a perfect subject for animation. Yep.
Nice.
So
cool,
that's going to be my new project.
That's cool.
Year.
Definitely
yeah,
look forward
and
to
I've also
that.
been working on my autobiography, which I hope to wrap up this year.
Okay.
That's another long-term project that takes a lot of time and energy. I think I have it about half done.
Okay.
But, looking to finish that. So that's going to be as soon as I get done with Halloween, I'm going to start into those things. Hopefully I'll have like a day off or something. That would be awesome.
Definitely. Okay, well, we're winding down towards the end. Do you have any final thoughts for your listeners and for your viewers?
Well, just to wish them all a happy Halloween